What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, aka 1/3 of the New Day. You're not gonna say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to the Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, and tonight, alongside me, is the one, the only, the master of the backstage, the tweeter of the stories. It's Dirtsheet Dash. Hello, man.
I'm good, how are you?
I'm very, very well. But this is our WWE in review. It usually comes at you on a Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. Minor delay today this week as we have technical problems up the butt.
Yeah.
But yeah. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/group/thepopculturist, Twitter, Discord, Instagram. All those links are in the down below area. If you want to support the show, you can by sharing the conversation. Tell your friends, tell your family about this little wrestling pod. Be sure to go to your podcast service of choice, 5-star ratings, like, subscribe, all that garbage. If you were ever so inclined. You can support us financially by patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Jem is out this week. She's off at a piercer retreat. Her and all her piercing pals that she works with are having the little, because they're about to come back into business and they've been off for the better part of 3 months. Mm-hmm. So they're taking some time to remember how to like stab things, which is valid, very valid. But yeah, so instead we brought in good friend of the show, Dash.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries, man. How's the things?
Things are going good. We're in busy season right now because obviously, speaking in gaming terms, this would usually be E3 week, and obviously no E3, so it's more PlayStation week with a couple of added extras as well.
But yeah, so it's not just that. We're here to talk wrestling today.
Yeah.
And we're going to kick things off. Like we will get to SmackDown. We will get to Raw as well. But before we'll also probably might even throw in some Backlash predictions at the back end of the show, because the next one will be after Backlash. So
yes.
But for that, let's talk about NXT Takeover. It happened over the weekend, and it didn't just happen anywhere. It happened in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think, dude?
Well, for the first time, like it's been 25 years, I think it's all 20 years since the first In Your House.
Oh, minimum.
Man, like seeing that set, the nostalgia just like hit me like a ton of bricks. I used to love watching WWF In Your House pay-per-views. Like the one that really, really is resounding, and I think a lot of people agree, was the month after Steve Austin broke his neck at SummerSlam in 97. They had a pay-per-view called Ground Zero in your house, and he stunned JR for the first time in the ring. But the one thing that will always, the one image from that moment that will always be burned in my memory is where he's up near the set, and near the ring you have like all the commissioner and everybody there, and they're all attending to JR, but Stone Cold Steve Austin is just trashing JR at the set with the house behind him. And it's one of those things, man, where In Your House is really special, and I'm glad that they were able to bring it back due to, circumstances beyond their control, obviously. But yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, no, it was a really good way to sort of get around the current circumstances with the pandemics. And because with the naming convention of NXT Takeover, it's NXT Takeover Portland, NXT Takeover New York. Yeah. So like having that naming convention is actually quite perfect. It's like NXT Takeover Your House.
Yes.
Is essentially what it is, and I love that. And It was very, very clever. But in terms of matches, so there was a handful. So there's a good handful of matches always. I think it was 5, which tends to be the normal takeover amount. So we had the Women's Championship match, triple threat, Io Shirai, Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley. We'll get to results in just a second. Then we had the Black Lot Brawl with Adam Cole, Bebe, and the Velveteen Dream. We had the North American Championship, Johnny Gargano versus Keith Lee. Oh, Keith Lee. Then we had there was the 6 women tag match. Which was Tegan Knox. Mia Yim. And
Shotzi
Blackheart taking on Dakota Kai.
Raquel Gonzalez.
I think the name I can remember. Raquel Gonzalez and the third and
Candice LeRae.
Who might I? And have I missed a match there?
Did you mention Finn Balor versus Damian Priest?
I did not, and Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. So to kick off the show was the 6 women tag team match. Fucking mint. I have such a greater appreciation for heel Candice, is what I'm saying. I liked Candice before, but the whole look, the demeanor, everything about it, boom, love it. Dakota as heel, boom. That Gonzalez. No. She rocked up like about 2 takeovers ago. I'm like, I don't know who you are. And that's kind of where I am right now.
I think that Candice LeRae pulls heel off better than her husband.
Big time.
She's doing really well now with this new role as a heel within the women's division. And she's one of the most talented women's wrestlers ever. And I'm glad that they're kind of utilizing her in a different light now, because I felt like she was kind of in limbo when she was a face. It was almost like she was an unknown. So it's great that she now has this persona to give her that platform and, show that she actually has character. She actually has that pizzazz to actually perform. So, yeah.
And even in just terms of the general rebranding, like with her previous branding being based around Candy, hence her name, and currently it's Sweet Like Poison, which is still a good flick on Candy, which I really got a chuckle out of. But yeah, Mia Yim I'm a big fan of. Ever since I saw that ladder match with her and Io Shirai, I was like, yeah, I'm in. Whatever Mia wants to do, I'm in. Totally in. But of course, the win did go to the face team, which was just fine. Wasn't too bad. I think it was a really good way to kick off the night.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Great match, great performance. Yeah.
Shot is interesting because I haven't seen a lot of her, so I thought she did all right.
Yeah, she's an interesting character. I'm not too sure though.
The tank thing is brilliant.
Yeah, the tank thing was grouse. I loved how she just came out, drifted on that tank. It was grouse. Yeah, no, good stuff.
Next up we'll chat about Finn Balor and Damian Priest.
Yes, that sick bump.
It happened later in the night, but we're gonna go to that next.
Didn't that happen next? I thought that was the second match.
Maybe.
I love that sick bump that Priest took off the ropes straight onto the steel steps.
Oh my, yeah. So at some point they ended up getting the stairs, removing the stairs from the corner. They had them there, and there was looked to be a throw Finn Balor onto the steps. Yeah. Instead of it got overturned, and then a nice and then douche.
Yeah.
Right onto the
hit the edge of the steel steps. I don't think he was
off that shit.
I think he kind of. I don't want to say botched it, but I'll say that he kind of overleapt.
He did. He overshot it a little bit, which is a bit.
Yeah. So it was definitely a hard sell for him. But yeah, honestly, second favorite match of the night. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good because we don't Finn Balor's been sort of quiet for a little while, so I was happy to have him back. And I think with Damian Priest, he's someone that what I had seen of him in NXT, I was never really sold on who he was, the Archer of Infamy. Yeah. I was like, I'm not really feeling it. But what was great about this match is that it had Finn Balor sort of help carry him, and I'm not in a carry him because he's crap, but bring him up a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Which I really dug. And so, of course, the bumps were hard, and I think that was a good way to go about it.
I'm really loving the fact that they're now kind of accepting Finn Balor's Prince character rather than actually relying on the whole demon thing being his.
Well, since he moved back to NXT, they moved him into back to sort of not Prince Devitt, because obviously that's a New Japan thing, but the Prince is something.
Prince is basically his Prince Devitt character. It's exactly that.
Yeah, with that name, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm glad that they finally came to their senses and realized that's what he needed. He needed that edge. He needed to be the rock and roll. He needed to be the heel that he was, not this smiling baby face that they had dressing up in face paint every time that he lost the match. It was like, let's make him a Superman. That's not Finn Balor. But I'm glad that NXT has given him that chance to kind of rejuvenate his career again within the WWE.
Yeah. It was actually it was really good. So I'm a big sucker for. I'm a big Finn Balor dork. So. I was very happy to see that match. Awesome. Next up, North American Championship, Keith versus Johnny Gargano. Match of the night.
Match of the night, yeah.
I thought it was fucking fantastic.
Awesome match, dude. Awesome match.
I love Keith. Keith is just so good. Got to add that Australian. Keith! You know.
Keith. Was the longest match of the night. It was. The thing is, I believe that they were given that time because they knew very well that this was going to be the best match. And it's funny because every single time Johnny Gargano just brings it, dude. You can put him in the ring with anybody and it ends up being match of the night. So
he's really good. And and as a Keith is brilliant. And it was a situation where I didn't know how it was going to go, because knowing that there is this sort of a little bit of movement from NXT to main now, with the likes of Damian Dijakovic going to Raw and Matt Riddle going to SmackDown. I'm thinking there's probably going to be a lot more movement from NXT up.
Yeah,
so
I
was
agree.
like, shit, we know that like Keith had such a good showing at Survivor Series, and he's over as fuck. He's a big unit which ticks all of Vince's boxes.
Yeah.
So it is one of those situations of, if he loses here, he's going up. So it was this weird. I was like, I don't want him to lose because I think that belt looks fucking mint on Keith.
Yeah,
and I think he does good. But if he does it, that's the only way he'd go up.
He's settled nicely as the North American champion, which is good.
Because we know that Gargano's not going back anytime soon. Same as Ciampa, they're not doing it regardless. Like,
I agree with
they
you.
Got pulled up earlier, then they got moved back, and they're doing better back there. So, I don't see them sort of going up. But I do wonder about Keith.
Well, Keith will definitely be, I think, next on the list after Dijakovic. But
Dijakovic was a weird pick comparatively.
Yeah, but I think that's what I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it's Vince's fetish, basically, to have the big men over on his side of the roster. So
yeah, and it's one of those things like, if very similar to what we'll talk about a little bit later about like Viking Raiders and Street Profits, by pulling Damien up when Keith does eventually come up, because he will go to Raw.
Yeah.
Damien's already there and they can rekindle what was already there. Okay. Lee in the chat jumps in and goes, those shots on the security camera of the house were amazing.
Yes.
Like the doorbell cam.
Yeah. Perfect. Great touch. Great touch.
Great little moment.
I loved everything about like the beginning to the end of this match, especially the entrances with Gargano living in the house. Oh, just
that edit was tight.
Yes. Perfect. Everything about this was perfect. It's a testament to Triple H's creativity, honestly, and the way he visions things. It's funny because Vince McMahon used to have those kind of visions as well. So, Triple H has obviously learned from a master, but who now is past his prime.
Yeah.
But Triple H is really taking it to the next level, and NXT shows that. So
yeah, I completely agree. So there were those, especially early on in the empty arena era.
Yeah.
When Triple H had that big sort of hand on it and was doing, on the commentary with SmackDown and stuff, you can see that he had an idea of what these shows could be.
Yes.
And although that got snuffed out pretty fast, but at least in NXT we get to see him sort of do that, which is great. In the chat, Lee also adds, he can see Gargano and Ciampa being used to be put over new talent as the newer talent move up into the upper mid-card or main events in NXT, which I think is a good call. I think that's one of the reasons they do hang around, is probably for that exact reason, that they will be able to how they are the legends of NXT. They're the seasoned vets of NXT.
100%. I
And
agree.
that allows them to do that and work and help them out.
Yes, most definitely.
Speaking of the legends of NXT, 360, like over a year as the NXT champion, Adam Cole, baby, versus the Velveteen Dream in a no holds barred fucking anything goes backlot brawl. Favorite part of this was Adam Cole, baby, coming in the big fucking monster truck. I thought it was brilliant. Velveteen Dream comes in a Lamborghini dressed as Negan. Thought that was a cool touch. Oh, before we jump into that, I also just want to shout out Keith for his very prominent Black Lives Matter attire.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Love it. I'm so happy that he was able to do that. I think that's very, very important because I think he's one of the key faces for African Americans in WWE.
Yeah.
But yeah, so out comes Velveteen Dream dressed as Negan, which I thought was dope. The cool little braids and stuff, which is a nice switch up from his like little Hollywood when he had the Hollywood Hogan sort of Hollywood Dream hair.
Yeah.
And then the ref comes out. He's like, "Hey, I'm only here to do the 3 count. You guys do whatever the fuck you want." So yeah.
Pretty much.
Like that's perfect because when we look at previous like no holds barred, anything goes matches as an example, like Hell in a Cell last year, the refs are like way too involved.
Yeah, obviously with the Hell in a Cell and the mallet disqualification, that was just pathetic. But they did do this. I did remember they did this for Gargano Ciampa, the last match that they had. The exact same ref, the exact same attire. He wasn't wearing a traditional referee shirt. He was wearing just an NXT black shirt there as well because it was non-sanctioned. Triple H made it clear to them during that match, the referee's only here to count to 3, and that's it. And exactly it was replicated here. He was like, I'm only here to count to 3. Bye.
But yeah, and then he just kind of went into the corner. I'm just like, yeah, all right.
Yep, I'm going to chill here. You guys do what you want. I don't know about this match. I felt like it was overly produced in a way.
I would agree. There was a lot of cuts.
Yeah. I feel like with the success of the Boneyard match, WWE are now trying to replicate the magic that happened in that. Less is more, is the saying. Don't want to keep seeing overly cinematic matches happen every month, every pay-per-view. It should be a rarity. It shouldn't be something that WWE look to do every so often now, just because they're in the pandemic. I believe that, execution is key, especially for wanting to sell a pay-per-view for something special. But something special also means something rare. And if they continue to continuously give us cinematic matches, we're going to get bored of them. I mean, Money in the Bank was just kill me.
I quite liked Money in the Bank because I think the novel. I think with these cinematic matches, the selling point is the novelty, right? And that comes down to doing something ridiculous, whether that be the Boneyard match was fucking ridiculous and it was great because Undertaker literally murdered 3 people, but they all came back. You know what I mean?
Well, 2 of them got released.
In terms of its silliness, right?
Yeah.
And then we look at what Bray Wyatt did with John Cena. That was just silly, and I loved it.
Oh, you loved it?
I loved it. I felt that I really broke apart wrestling in this cool ways. But I mean, like in terms of creativity, like they just went, all right, Bray, you do what you want to do, and that makes me very happy just to see that. Then with the and then the Money in the Bank, the novelty was the fighting through the fighting
WWE
through
headquarters,
the headquarters, which the novelty was kind of met. But then there was a bunch of weird shit in between, like Dana asking where the briefcase is, as an example. It was stupid. But yeah, like the idea, the selling point of that is great.
Oh yeah.
With this, it's it's a backlot brawl, so it's a fight on what looked like the backlot of a production studio, and I don't think the novelty of that sort of met what those other matches were. So regardless of what they delivered, I would presume it wouldn't be as like I thought when I said a backlot brawl, I was thinking like a street fight,
Here was the problem I found is that they've done a backlot brawl before. Eddie Guerrero versus John Cena on SmackDown. No ring. Pinfalls count anywhere.
That's what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a street fight, no ring. just bussing everywhere.
Yeah, they did not do that, and I felt some of the bumps taken in this match were weak. Cole's bump on the windshield was probably the strongest one, but with the amount of cinematic cuts that they made to the match, it could have just been easily set up in a way that made it look gruesome. Whereas the Eddie Guerrero versus John Cena match was one take, and it looked gruesome when they did it. And without a ring and being pinfalls count anywhere, they were slamming each other on the floor and everything else. So I can understand, safety precautions and all that stuff, and wrestling has kind of changed since then. But there was a lot about this match that had its problems. There was a lot that I liked. The one thing I love that has come out of this is the Dexter Lumis storyline where he is kidnapped, abducted Roddy Strong and I think Kyler Bobby Fish.
Yeah, I don't
know where O'Reilly went. He just disappeared.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Because like when there's a no rules, I'm like the rest of the UE are going to be there. The Undisputed Butts are going to be there. They're going to be incredibly annoying and frustrating. So I appreciate them using Dexter Lumis as a way to be like, they were in, cool, now they're gone.
Yeah, done.
Like as in like all interruptions. With Kyle not being there, I'm like, fuck, he's gonna come out of somewhere and give a shock. But
oh yeah, have you? Do you follow Roddy Strong on Twitter?
No, I do not.
So his wife, Roddy Strong's wife, put out a tweet.
It's Marina Shafir, yeah.
Yep, she put out a tweet after the match. After the pay-per-view, and demanded that Dexter Lumis bring her husband home, and if she doesn't, I'm gonna come out there and whatever, blah blah. Like she's gonna kick his ass, basically. Dexter Lumis responded to the tweet simply with Roddy Strong's Twitter account with this picture.
That is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant.
That is awesome. Like, you can imagine them two go and take this picture, and I'll send it to my wife. It'd be great.
Lee adds Dexter Lumis's look reminded him of Nails back in the early to mid 90s.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't get that.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, I thought that was okay.
Okay.
So Adam Cole still retains. I kind of saw that happening. The only difficulty was with around the rumor mill that he would be going to AEW with Britt Baker, his partner. Mm-hmm. However, it looks as if he has signed another multi-year deal.
With, 18 months plus.
Yeah. So that's cool. I'm glad Adam Cole Baby is still around. I understand why he would want to head on over. Because same could be said for Apollo. Not Apollo Crews. Is it Apollo Crews? One that's dating. That's married to whatever to Big Swole over at AEW.
I'm not sure, dude.
Yeah. But there's quite a number of across, especially with like Peyton Royce as an example, because there were rumors that the Iconics were going to move it. One of them were going to move at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they've kind of Adam Cole is still interested enough and happy enough at NXT to not make that call, and I think that's cool, because as much as everyone poo-poos on WWE, it's nice to know that there's some people that are like, no, I'm pretty content here, and this is kind of what I want to get out of it.
Yeah. There are some things that are good, but yeah.
Yeah, and then finally the women's triple threat: Charlotte Flair, Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley. I enjoyed it.
No,
but yeah, I'm unsure whether it should have been the main card.
The main event.
However, I don't think it's one of the first times women have main evented TakeOver.
No, Bailey versus Sasha did it.
Way back in the day. Yeah.
No, they've had a few women's main events for TakeOver. So,
but in short, victory goes to Io Shirai after Ripley was in a figure 8, and then she comes in, just goes badoosh, and then takes the pin on Ripley. I thought it was mint. I've really gained an appreciation for Io Shirai from what I've been watching. Because when I first saw her with Kyrie as part of the Sky Pirates, I was like, okay, cool. But once she did that turn and got the new look and got the new shtick, apart from her screaming all the time, which I don't know how, that ladder match with Mia Yim, she screamed the whole time. I don't think she stopped. So I really enjoy her aesthetic. I think it's good.
I agree.
100% right choice.
I agree. what I'm annoyed about is the fact that they put the belt on Charlotte, and honestly, I felt like it was for nothing. And the reason I say that is because there is this belief that Charlotte Flair can actually elevate younger women's wrestlers within the WWE. Where, to be honest with you, nobody wants to see the Omni Flair always freaking on top with the freaking belt. It's something that is annoying people now. It's like she's becoming the Roman Reigns / John Cena of the league right now, and it's like that meme. Every time there's a belt in the ring, Charlotte Flair runs to the ring. She needs free airtime every time.
I do think she's certainly within that legend sort of descriptor that, you know, you can put her in anything and she will be like, you know, I do agree that she can be put to help people, but I don't think she needs to be in the title shot in the same way that, like, you know, you could throw Randy in something and if he's committed, or, you know, like, he will help get that person up. But but I don't, you know, it's a little bit bullshit that she's like the 11-time champ now.
Yes. I'm over it.
What I do really enjoy, though, is that this has essentially been a 3-month push for Io Shirai.
Yeah.
Like, the whole motivation behind Charlotte winning at Mania was just to get it on Io. Because, like, the second that Ripley was out, and I think Ripley had to, because I think that's the only reason she lost.
Yes.
You know, so then they're like, all right, well, what's next? And what's next is, well, that's just really 100% focus on Io and what we want Io to be. Yes, my kid just broke in. So what they've done is they've just had her there because, you know, regardless of I still don't know what the actual numbers are of, like, you know, having Charlotte involved in NXT, whether that brought eyes over to NXT. It certainly put more focus on it when she's at each show every week going, hey, NXT. So I think maybe that could have pushed people to go watch in your house and then see Io Shirai do, you know, Io Shirai on your house, and then she fucking, like, you know, cross bodies off that garage.
I'm going to put it this way. I didn't buy this pay-per-view to see Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, sure. I also did not. He's just having a go. Lee, guys, is that the first time she lost a title match on pay-per-view? If you can call a takeover a pay-per-view. Yes, it's pay-per-view. But once again, Charlotte didn't get the pin here.
Yep. Just like
Ripley just like WrestleMania last year. Buddy, can you please stop playing with the door? So just like WrestleMania 35, you know, Charlotte was there, but kind of didn't need to be.
Yep. Definitely.
But I also have a feeling that the circumstances around Ripley, because Ripley's been away for a couple of weeks, a couple of months actually, and I think there is a reasoning for that. The original theory was that her visa was running out, so she was unable to work, and that's only been the case. Yes, mate.
What are you doing?
I'm doing a show. Can you please go to mummy? Yep. Thanks, bud. So it's a weird line now. I don't think she needed to be involved, but I think there may have been external factors for that one. So with the WrestleMania 35 storyline, it was them just trying to put hurdles on Becky and unnecessary hurdles. So I think this might be slightly different. But once again, overall, it's another takeover that didn't disappoint. It may not have been like I said. It's not a big 5-star banger like they're like, oh, every take. Like, it's still not a bad takeover.
It's still not bad. It wasn't bad. No, I wouldn't say it was
Max,
bad.
I didn't say that until just then.
I wouldn't say it was a bad takeover at all, but I would definitely classify it or categorize it as the weakest takeover I've seen.
Potentially.
Yep.
I haven't seen all of them, so I can't make that claim.
I can.
Yeah.
It was fine for what it was. Once again, look, and I'll explain when we do the rating and stuff, but yeah, it's just, yeah.
My next question would be, what would you give it with the Kurt Angles?
For a Kurt Angle rating, I'd give it a Kurt. If we weren't in a pandemic, this would get a bar. But I'm giving it a Kurt because we are currently in pandemic mode and they're limited to what they can do and everything. Would they have been able to do more if we weren't in pandemic mode? Who knows? Would they have done the exact same thing? More than likely. And that's why I still think, given the current circumstances, of COVID, and if they went with a parking lot brawl or anything like that, I believe still it would have been in the ring if we weren't in COVID mode. Or should I be saying like T-virus mode or whatever? Yeah, it doesn't
no one watches this. Then they get the strike. Who cares?
God.
Let me
Don't
prove
lie.
it. Coronavirus.
Anyway,
COVID-19.
Jesus Christ, Benson.
Pandemic.
All right, calm down.
See what happens.
So, yeah, no, I think if anything, it delivered, but it kind of under delivered on usually what takeovers do deliver, and I just felt like, is this also the first takeover of the year since
Correct.
COVID?
Yep.
It is, yeah. Like
there was originally supposed to be the one for
WrestleMania
that got canned. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I commend them for taking that chance and actually doing takeover, but I think as of right now, I think they should just strictly stick it to TV right now. If they're going to do a takeover, do it like AEW, do it on TV. That's it.
Yeah, like what they're doing with Fighter Fest.
Fighter Fest. Yeah.
I'm willing to give them a little bit of forgiveness around that, because I think one of the best things about there was one.
There was one
Royal
more.
Rumble.
Yeah,
there was.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm willing to give them a bit of forgiveness because I think the best part about NXT is the crowd, and I do think that there is something lost to NXT when there's nobody else in at Full Sail.
Yep.
Overall, I wasn't disappointed with any of the matches. None of the results felt blur. In terms of so I was like, so it's a curtain bar for me. And
Okay, cool.
Lee Winty in the chat agrees with me with the Kurt Angles.
Yeah.
But let's get into the meat.
Good.
Let's get into the meat potatoes. Let's talk about WWE Raw.
Or SmackDown?
SmackDown first. Sorry, so my apologies. SmackDown first.
Yep.
In terms of story, so what we're going to do, we'll just touch upon the storylines and where they're at and where they're going. So, things kicked off with Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy was out in the ring addressing what happened last week with that alleged DUI hit and run on Elias.
Yep.
It looks as if that's what may not have been the case. So, it's been announced that Elias is out because of this, with a torn pectoral muscle and some broken ribs.
Yep.
Hardy was pretty confident that he had not slipped up, that he was not under the influence, and sure enough, when he got taken to the police station, he got breathoed, he got tested, came back clean as a whistle, and then came back to kick Sheamus's bumhole.
Yep.
But in short, this is just setting up towards what is going to be a match at Backlash.
This is the greatest show!
So of course, as Jeff Hardy's out there talking, explaining all this and that, out comes Sheamus. Sheamus is essentially yelling at him, yelling at everyone for enabling him. This is a weird one for me, because I think this feud would have been really good a couple of weeks ago.
I think this feud sucks. And
I think it's overplayed now. There's been
from
too
a creative
long without a match.
They've done this too many times creatively. They've done this way too many times. We know Jeff Hardy has had multiple issues, multiple drug-related issues and alcohol issues. It's no secret. They did this back in 2009 when he left the company and CM Punk came out dressed as him. And then they did it in TNA and used real-life drug-related problems as an angle when he lost the belt to Sting. And then when he returned and had an argument with AJ Styles, and AJ Styles turned around and told him, I don't want to effing see you in this locker room. And then now they're replaying the exact same thing that happened all those years ago in TNA on WWE TV. I feel like they're recycling a lot of TNA right now within WWE. And it's just, this is old stuff. Do something new with Hardy already. We know about his problems, but as a fan, I don't care about that. Like, this is something that's not for me to know.
I completely agree. So from a story perspective, it is very lazy to rely on this sort of the history of Hardy, and especially it's lazy in terms of even with the idea of Sheamus doing these particular actions and trying to like, hey, he has a drug problem. Everyone's like, yeah, we know, man. Like, what the fuck? So like even his motivations are kind of fucked, and that's being reflected. So if we looked at last week as ahead of the Battle Royal, when he's like, fucking Jeff Hardy, that junkie piece of shit, everyone's like, fucking shut up, dude. Yeah. Like within the other superstars, within even the dude that stands up saying, oh fuck off, Sheamus. Like it's played out, it's boring. The match better be good. I don't see it being that way.
Nope.
Like, how do you see? Because we'll throw in our Backlash predictions as we go here. Yeah. So, how do you see this going? Like, who do you think's going to come out and will continue past Backlash?
Sheamus will win because they want to continue this feud past Backlash because they got nothing else going on for them right now. He'll win it and continue to claim that he was drunk or on drugs or whatever, and it'll be a bullshit storyline for them to pursue. But if anything, maybe I'll give them a little bit of credit and say there is a chance that they'll stop it after Backlash. They recently fired one of their lead creatives over on SmackDown, Krista Joseph, who was actually what the DX used to call him, Big Dick Johnson, and used to come out and rub oil on himself. But he could have been the catalyst behind this storyline. However, I feel like I don't have any confidence right now within their creative, especially with Bruce Pritchard running it. He's notorious for harping on shitty storylines as well. So, yeah, I say going past Backlash. Sheamus wins it for sure. It'll be a shit match.
Yeah, I'm seeing to be unimpressive, and I think it'll either be a situation of, because we know like this is supposed to be Jeff Hardy's last run. I've frozen. Because this is supposed to be Jeff Hardy's like last run, is what they've been sort of alluding to. So it's this weird. It'd be weird if he were to lose here. However, it also does kind of make sense a little bit. In order to give him, because I was like, if this is his final run, what would be next? You know what I mean? Like there was those original rumors that with Roman Reigns stepping away from WrestleMania, that Jeff Hardy was going to be coming in and having the shot.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
All good.
With Roman out indefinitely, by the looks of it, this could be something that maybe they're building him up to that title picture. So maybe he does need to get that win here in order to sort of position himself into that direction.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
But yeah, so for that, only for that, because I think Sheamus could lose here because Sheamus has been losing.
Yep.
I think Sheamus can lose here and still look good. Yeah,
I think this is where he gets his redemption, though.
You think?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Jeff.
Okay, cool.
I'm putting it down on Jeff.
All right, cool.
Next up, we did see a continuation of Otis and King Corbin for some fucking reason. Right. Otis comes out with Mandy wearing the crown of Baron Corbin, but Otis wins by DQ.
Yep.
This is okay. Okay. Fuck Corbin. All right. What I'm having difficulty here understanding.
Yeah.
Otis has had barely any sort of oomph since winning Money in the Bank. Like, are they, kayfabe removal? Are they trying to just fucking build sympathy for him? Is that what they're trying to do?
Yes.
It's not working. Like, he's already over. You don't need to make him more over.
So the way they want to do this, and I'm going to just basically play it out for you, Betson, is that Otis has won Money in the Bank, and Mandy Rose is going to turn on Otis while defending his briefcase, either against Dolph Ziggler or somebody else, whoever steps up to him. It could even be King Corbin, for all we know. And everybody will be like, oh, Otis. And then, so Mandy Rose becomes heel again. That's because that's where she belongs. And Otis gets more over as a babyface because obviously Vince loves his comedy act, and this elevates Otis into like a United States title picture, or intercontinental title picture.
Yeah.
I just know. It just
no, you're 100% spot on. Like, that's what's going to happen. Mandy will turn.
Yeah.
Like, that's it's not going to be they're not going to be a couple for the foreseeable future in the same way that Raw, when we get to it with like Bobby Lashley and Lana, that's already seeing the end of its time. You know what I mean? It's just
thank fuck.
Like, and that's going to continue here with, you know, I think with Mandy and Otis. Like, I think you're 100% spot on. It's just more of a situation of fucking why. Like, is the next step they're like, pardon me, unless, because I see Otis using the briefcase for a tag match, right?
Yep.
Because that seems on brand, and they're like, no one's done it for a tag match before, so there's a new selling point.
Yeah.
But who's the tag team that's going to benefit from this? Unless it's Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode.
It's stupid. You have the Money in the Bank and a free world title shot, and you're not going to go for the world. It's silly. It's silly. And yeah, fine, comedy act and blah, blah, blah.
But do you see him even having a shot against Braun?
No.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Could either be Corbin or Ziggler. But I don't think they want to put it on Ziggler again.
No.
So it might be Corbin.
Do you think that, because I said there is that weird line between like go away heat and fucking genuine heat, and Corbin is red hot. Everyone gets so mad at just the idea of him being around. So I think giving him King of the Ring and Money in the Bank, because we've got to remember, King Corbin was a character that they threw the complete unsuccess of the ratings last 2 years ago, right? They blamed him. They threw him under the bus, being that he was the entire reason that everyone was hating WWE at that time. And then they want to throw the briefcase on him as well, which he already has done and didn't get a title.
Yeah, but Corbin's a really good heel. There is go away heat, but then there is heat, and he's got heat. He's got proper heat.
Yeah, people get mad at his presence. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they actually call it X-Pac heat is what they call it.
Yeah.
And he's got X-Pac heat. And the thing is, he's really good at what he does, like in terms of being a heel, and he's a great wrestler. I feel like a lot of people discount that from him. They're like, "Oh, he's a terrible wrestler." No, he's very good. You just don't see it. Corbin is the full package right now in terms of being a heel. People genuinely hate the guy, but only because he's good at what he does. And in terms of what they want to sell, I believe they would want to sell Corbin as a champion at some point. And in his King persona, perfect. They did it with Booker T, and it got over so good. People booed the shit out of Booker T when he was King Booker. I feel like putting the belt on Corbin would be the right way to go in that stance as well, to push that agenda, like to push the fact that, hey, we have got a strong heel on hand. The problem with Otis as Money in the Bank holder, if he holds onto this this briefcase and fans come back, like crowds come back, I think he might get booed.
Otis.
Yep. I think they'll love it. They'll go, "Oh yeah, Otis, haha, the funny man." And then after a couple, it's like, okay, Otis, you were 6 months ago, mate. We don't care. This is not what we want to see.
There is going to be that weird line, because even similar to like Brock, when Brock was the Beast in the Bank. Yeah. Like he had that thing for an unnecessarily long time.
Yep.
Do you see that happening here? Or do you see that it will, like, for some reason it'll be put on the line and then it'll change hands and then shortly after? Like, when do you see that happening? Within the next month? Within the next two?
SummerSlam.
So within the next 2 months.
Yep. SummerSlam, Otis will defend his Money in the Bank briefcase against either Ziggler or Corbin. Mandy Rose will turn on him during the match. He'll lose it. That's it.
Feel it. Excuse me.
Yep.
Excuse me, indeed. That you want to kick the shit out of me. Speaking of Mandy Rose, though, her ex-friend Sonya Deville had a follow-up bout against Lacey Evans again this week. So I'm unsure. I'm unsure where they're going here. I think that they're trying to have Sonya still be prominent, but also disconnect her from Mandy for a little while.
Yep.
And I guess the closest they can get is another blonde that they can punch.
They're really trying to establish Sonya on her own right now.
Which they
as, like,
should, because I think she's fantastic right now.
Yeah, she's got some great
someone that I never gave any shits about. I'm really caring. Like, she comes out, I think she's looking fantastic. I think she's delivering. Apart from getting, the distraction here and then getting a punch to the face with the woman's right. She's looking good. If anything, that only fuels the Mandy Rose feud. Yeah,
I agree. I think it's perfect, but I also think that this is also the setup. This is the setup for Mandy to turn heel, and then it was a ruse all along. I would ever love you, and blah 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 blah, all that kind of storyline. And Sonya Deville was part of that ruse as well. It only makes Mandy a stronger heel as well when they join together again, which is what's going to happen. And with the rumors of the whole relationship thing as well, there could be a rumor that it could be strong that they could carry that and basically make them a couple within storyline wise.
Well, as Jem and I pitched last week with all these little dream sequences that they're having with Otis and Mandy, we were discussing the idea that eventually Sonya becomes part of those dream sequences. Where Otis is, she's looks over at Otis, ooh, and then Otis suddenly, she looks away, looks back, and it's Sonya, and she looks away, looks back, and it's Otis again. That's if they want to play that angle and sort of keep her face for a little bit.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
But I do kind of think they're probably going to go by the numbers with what you're doing now.
Yeah.
So for that reason, do you think this loss here is nothing? Like there's no extra bump for Lacey here. It's purely just to keep her moving forward.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep. I will take care of that.
Thanks.
Bye.
Next up we have a classic face-to-face. Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles coming together ahead of the Intercontinental title match on next week's episode of SmackDown.
Yep. You alright?
Yes. Because I have such a hurdle when it comes to these face-to-face things. Because they normally go exactly as you think.
Right.
And I guess it did here, but kind of not, which I appreciate. Normally it's like face-to-face and then they end up just punching each other, and it's really boring.
Yeah.
But instead, we had Gulak come in and smack AJ Styles, and then that brought them into a match as well.
Yep.
How are you around Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the IC title?
I'm for it.
Yeah.
I love it because, being obviously an old school wrestling fan, I've watched Bryan Danielson and AJ Styles fight for years, from ROH through TNA, through other indies to WWE. So to see that happen now at, almost 20 years after me initially first seeing them wrestle is amazing. But have Gulak there as well. I'm for it too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy with this because in terms of if you want that Intercontinental Championship to look good, like we always discuss constantly how the mid-card belt is less favored, it's less loved, it's less well treated. I think when you have ex heavyweight champions, the big belt holders, playing for it, I think that gives it a bump.
I think that's the problem, though.
Well, because they've had bigger titles, why would they go for this?
Yes, because, well, not necessarily. I'll put it this way. Triple H was World Wrestling Federation champion in 2000, the whole year almost. He was feuding with The Rock. I went back and forth. And then he won the Intercontinental Championship in 2001. But that's only because Steve Austin was world champion for almost the entire year. Actually, he was for the entire year. I feel like what the Intercontinental Championship represented beforehand no longer has that same magic.
The Intercontinental the workers' championship.
Correct. It's supposed to elevate a career. When you get that title, the next step is the world championship. The problem with that right now is because they have two separate world titles and two separate mid-card titles. It's the US title at one point just went into limbo, and it kind of made the Intercontinental Championship go into that same status, meaning nothing. And they were kind of giving that like a hot potato. Jericho was carrying that that title at one point for ages, and nobody noticed. They were like, "Who's the Intercontinental Champ? Oh, it's Jericho." And I remember back in 2002 when it meant nothing to the company, they ended up merging it with the World Heavyweight title, and it was just like, what the fuck? This title has a legacy, and you guys are just shitting all over it. But to see now AJ and Daniel Bryan going for it, yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. I think it's great because this will elevate it because they are both established. I don't necessarily think because they are former world champions, it'll help it. But I feel like either one of those guys could actually carry that belt.
Do you think it might be because they know it was sort of stuck in this with the the unsuccessful attempts of Sami Zayn and the Artist Collective? This sort of brings it back up into the eyesight. So then whoever goes for it next will already have a higher platform to be working off. Because is this just recovery for it being mishandled with Zayn?
Yes,
that's how I see it too. Yeah.
100%. With Zayn out, it's understandable why Zayn was out as well.
I think he's actually stuck in Canada.
Yeah, he can't get back. Well, he had his wisdom teeth taken out. That's part of the reason. Then he couldn't return to work. So shit happens. What can you do? Don't want to catch the coronavirus, man.
Good call. It's good call. Don't catch it. It's not very fun. How do you see this going? Who do you think? I'm personally thinking Daniel Bryan.
I think AJ. I think Drew Gulak might cause Daniel Bryan's loss mistakenly. I don't think it's going to be a heel turn or anything. I think it's going to be one of those things where he slips up, and this will start the turn of Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. Either they'll turn on each other, or it'll make the relationship stronger to the point where they go for the tag titles.
Ooh, yeah.
Because they need to build Drew Gulak, because he's still...
And seeing as the Forgotten Sons are very much forgotten now, and even pushed away to the side.
Good.
It's...
Gunner sucks. But anyway.
Yeah. Just a side note. But yeah, all right. Yeah, like I could say that's probably a good call. I think AJ would be good because I think AJ is best when he has a belt. I think it does put that... Because he has that right, like, fuck you attitude. And I think the belt really helps deliver the fuck yous, especially when it came to making the OC look legitimate when they could. When they had the tag titles, when he had the US title, it was like, like they're all just cockheads, and it was awesome.
I actually, before we continue, I actually think that this is going to turn AJ face.
You think? What makes you say that?
Because AJ's been a heel now for how long?
Since he lost the championship.
Yeah.
Let me fix it. Yeah, keep chatting.
No, that's right. I think AJ's got about due for a face turn. As good of a heel AJ is, and he's a great heel, he's an even better face. But he's a great vengeful face, if you know what I mean. Like, he has to have reason to be face. Yeah. So, given the right circumstance and the right storyline, I believe that...
Can take back to mommy, please?
I believe that AJ will turn face with the Intercontinental Championship. It could even be, I'm thinking maybe Sheamus. And
well, because that's one of the big things. I thought either Jeff or Sheamus would be pushing towards that Intercontinental, and I think Sheamus is probably spot on. And that's kind of why I was thinking about Daniel Bryan in terms of that heel face dynamic. I think Daniel Bryan's great as a face, and I think he can, if he does win here, he can take that loss to Sheamus. Yes, mate. All right, can you please go to mummy? Still doing a show, buddy. And then Drew. Then Bryan can still be face. Sheamus gets that title, and I think that adds to the legitimacy about his return, because his whole argument was that Jeff Hardy smothered his return.
I agree.
And I think that's pretty good. Yeah, but I guess AJ could deliver the same thing if he turns, but I see it being a quicker result then, because the time that would take to get AJ face again, I think might be a little bit too long. If he turns face and then loses,
Depends how they go about it.
Something that I'm not quite sure how or why they're doing it because it's annoying. Braun Strowman, we know he has the 2-on-1 handicap match with Miz and Morrison. Hey ho ho. At Backlash. Miz and Morrison have become pranksters. I hated this entire thing. All of it.
I don't want to talk about it.
All right. In short, they did a bunch of bullshit, and they're like, we're going to mess with Braun Strowman. Hated it.
Well, they smashed his windshield. They smashed his car.
They slimed Charlie Caruso by accident. They put something in his protein shake. Whatever. They're going to get their asses handed to them on Backlash.
Cool.
There's no way they're going to win. All right, moving on.
Nah, nobody cares.
The main event for the night was the Women's Tag Team Championship match. Bayley and Sasha Banks took on Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. And Bayley and Sasha Banks are now 2-time tag team champions. All right, buddy,
so my thoughts on it is I don't know what what their intentions are for every time they have their women's champion hold 2 belts. It's dumb. Stop. Becky's the women's champion. She doesn't need the tag titles. If anything, it should have been one of those things where they're trying to set up. Sorry, Bayley. Set up Bayley versus Sasha. They should have Bayley. If anything, Bayley should have costed herself and Sasha the women's champion, the tag team championship, in that match. Simple bump move or simple mistake in the match that, or she observes from the corner like a heel, like how she did in their match a couple of weeks ago where Sasha got pinned and she was in the corner cowering, looking on, and instead of helping, she lets Sasha get pinned because in the back of her mind, she's like, I don't need these tag belts. What the fuck am I doing? And that cost them the match.
In terms of Bayley's character is... I think that she's insecure, and that's what they're doing. So, and she's had this almost of this belief that by having more titles, more belts on her, that she will become more prevalent. She will become the head of the division because that's even though she believes that to be the case. When we have Sasha Banks last week, even making the claims that she is the head of the division, not Bayley, who should be as the champion.
Yeah.
I think this demonstrates that insecurity within Bayley's character, and so I've got 2 titles now. Regardless, I'm still better than Sasha, even though but then having them come across to Raw as well opens up this thing with the Iconics, which I do still hope the Iconics become the champions again. Because fuck it, why not? But
what would you rather see? Would you rather see Sasha and Bayley versus the 2 NXT women, or would you rather see the Iconics versus the 2 NXT? I would rather the Iconics.
Yeah, because it'd be one of those things where I think the Iconic could still come over there and probably even if they. I don't know. I personally just like the Iconics more. Because I say that as because I enjoyed their tag team run, tag championship run, because they were just butt chicken shit heels the whole time. And that made me chuckle. Because I think similar to Charlotte, I don't think that having Bayley and Sasha go back to NXT will give it any bump. I don't think it'll give it any rub. It'll just be them being annoying over there. Because I'm not caring for this whole Bayley heel turn.
Neither am I.
Because they're layering down this potential split between them, and they just haven't delivered on it yet. Nor do I think they'll deliver on it. It's this weird middle place to be, and if anything, it's demonstrating the lack of women's tag teams they have curray. And I think they've exhausted SmackDown, so they needed a way to bring it to Raw. And I think this is it.
Who do you see being out of this feud out of this potential feud that they're going to have, or this impending one, really? Who do you see being the heel and the face?
I think Sasha and Bailey is still like it's this weird line of they're both heels, but I think the comedy act of Iconics puts them into like sort of a de facto face position.
I think that out of Bailey and Sasha, you mean? Like
Bailey, Sasha.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one I'm not sure on. Because I think in order for Sasha to turn on Bailey, she'll have to do some little healy things. But I'm unsure because I think Bailey worked better. Maybe not as the return of the hugger Bailey, but at least some variant. I don't think that speak to the manager Bailey has been a successful heel.
Yeah, definitely not. I think Bailey turns face. I think she goes back to a hugger gimmick because that's what sells shirts for kids. It's a merch thing, and
especially with AEW now taking that role model gimmick and making it fucking so much better with Britt Baker. They need to step away from that and go back.
Yeah. I think that what will happen is Sasha will win the women's title off Bailey in a shock. It'll probably be like a fatal 4-way or something. You know, she wins it. She rolls out of the ring. She holds high like, yeah, look at me. Bailey's in shock. Sasha turns around and they argue at the back. Sasha turns around and goes, I'm the women's champion. Fuck you. And walks off. Bailey turns face. Hugger Bailey comes back, wins the belt again, makes her look even stronger.
Yeah, but I don't want to see it just between those two people. But then it's that weird line of like, who the fuck else can be in that picture? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Nor do I really
Dude, those two can go though.
They two can go. They're both great wrestlers.
Have you seen their NXT takeover match?
No, I haven't. But like, I know they can go. But I mean, like in terms of from a viewer perspective, I'm like, well, who else is going to get in this picture?
Yeah. Now, dude, you got to watch
because when you're
match.
Like Bailey right now is the longest ever running SmackDown Women's Champion.
Yep.
And it's just like, okay.
So what?
But I say that in like the I've not enjoyed the run.
But I think that's also got to do with COVID as well, and they're kind of stuck. Yeah,
that's very true. It should play a part. But anyways, that does bring us to the end of SmackDown. How did you feel about this one, Mr. Dash?
One thumb up, one Kurt.
Yeah, I agree. It's a Kurt as well. Like it was sufficient. It wasn't hot trash. Nothing really won me over. I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into RAW. Speaking of Sasha Banks and Bailey, they kicked off WWE Raw as well.
RAW.
Asuka was in the ring doing some things because she was supposed to have a match against Charlotte Flair. We've come to learn that would be delayed later into the night as they would be having a tag match against the Iconics and Bailey and Sasha.
Yeah. So what? This was a boring segment. I didn't care. And again, once again, the Omni Flare had to make her presence felt throughout that whole segment. I feel like she buried everybody in that segment.
Yeah.
Essentially. There is no reason for Charlotte to be out there. Again, to bury the whole women's division. Just go away.
Yeah, the issue that I have here is why... I guess the only reasoning here would be that's because we know that Iconics are having a match against Sasha and Bailey at Backlash, and you know how they do. They don't give you the exact match before a pay-per-view. They have to have some variant of what that match is going to be, and because the Iconics don't really work as singles competitors, they had to put somebody else in there. Like, how do we have Sasha and Bailey and Iconics have a match? Fucking Asuka's here, Charlotte's here. All right, let's just do that.
Yep, pretty much.
Like it does really feel like on a whim sort of decision to allow.
Oh, it definitely was. I think it's who was available that day and who's in Orlando today. So yeah.
But on a side note, shout out to Charlotte. You know, even though you hate her, 3 days in a row, 3 shows in a row. That's not too bad.
Okay.
Cool.
Go home.
I'm not saying it's a good thing, but all right, well done. No one else is on 3 shows right now.
You mean 3 shows in a row? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So 2 shows and a pay-per-view. That's pretty good. Let's see. Continuing on with the whole Seth Rollins Monday Night Messiah thing. Another thing that we know that you're a bit flat on. They've continued the Rey Mysterio angle here of Rey Mysterio getting his eye fucked up with a stare. this sort of push for him to retire from Seth, as he was a sacrifice to the greater good.
I'm over the Far Cry 5 Seth Rollins, man. Like, he had a great... Like, Seth Rollins is a great heel. Like, Seth Rollins is a great heel. This character he's using is fucking atrocious. I hate it. It's boring to watch. You know why? Because sometimes being methodical on TV doesn't suit the character, and Seth Rollins is not a methodical wrestler either. He's fast-paced in the ring. Don't get me wrong, he is tactical, but not methodical.
He's the architect. I think that there had been ulterior plans for Seth and his disciples. With the AOP off injured, I don't think that was expected. So they've had to sort of look at rebuilding his disciple list with bringing in I think the director they had in mind has been shifted, and they're like, well, Ray wants out for a little while, or they want to bring Dominic in somehow, and the angle with Brock, or I think the angle with Brock was supposed to be Dominic's entry point, but maybe he wasn't ready, so let's push it back. And it is one of those things where Seth can, because with Ray being a legend, Seth can do whatever he wants to him, and he will still remain a legend. And the whole idea of forcing him in a retirement storyline, it's compelling. As I said, I got worked last week because I didn't watch the show live. All I got was a tweet that said Rey Mysterio retirement. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Not forgetting that everything's a work.
Look, as I said, Seth Rollins. Obviously, he's selling the character well, but I just feel like Seth Rollins is a fantastic heel, and they're just using this character. Like, I don't know, man. I don't like this character at all. I think it's boring.
I don't think they're handling it as best they could. What's up, noob? No. Thanks for joining, man. I don't think they're handling it the best, but I do think that Seth is be able to deliver that charismatic, sort of like fucking self-important, like fuck, and I think he's really delivering that part of it. And I think there is ways they can handle it, but like when it comes to like gimmick wrestling, there is that sense of disbelief that has to be done. Like right now, the difficulty around it is how do you if there's a guy that believes he is the Messiah, why the fuck would he do it at a wrestling ring only on Mondays?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like exactly. You've got to get past that little hurdle. And I think current day wrestling oddly isn't a place for gimmick wrestling like that.
See, here's how I kind of see the parallels of what's happening prior to his prior heel run. Mm-hmm. So his prior heel run, he was part of the Authority. He had J&J Security with him, right? And basically, he had that backup. He had his disciples with him, right? To me, what it says is if Seth Rollins turns heel, he can't be alone. He needs his entourage with him to back him up every time. And that showed with the Shield. Yep. That showed with his heel turn on the Shield. And then it showed now with this. And to me, it's like, okay, fair enough. But can he do a heel run on his own? Obviously not.
Why do you think that is, though? What do you think? Because you've been watching him for a while. Is there something that he presents that would be a difficulty to be a solo heel run?
No. He's a fantastic heel. If you go back and see some of his stuff when he was heel, when he went off injured with his leg and then returned, he was heel. And he turned on that crowd. Everybody was like, I remember it because he came in behind Roman Reigns when he won the Roman Reigns won the world title.
Roman Wayne
hit that pedigree on him, and people were going nuts. The next night on Raw, he came out, people chanting. He's like, "Oh, this is nice," but then it was the big old, "I did this without you guys. Fuck you."
Yeah.
And then people were just like, "Boo, fuck you." He's a great heel, but WWE don't see any faith in the guy being alone and a mega heel for the company.
But they had him happily be a solo face, which was weird.
Yeah,
which I don't think he had
for a small window before they turned him. Oh, sorry, a face. Yeah, they had him be a solo heel for a small window before they turned him face. I don't know. I'm just not. I don't buy this whole Far Cry gimmick. That's all.
No, but it is involving
Mordecai.
DJ Bat Prince, haha, the Messiah. You mean Mordecai?
Mordecai. So Mordecai was Kevin Thorne. They brought him in for like a few stints. A stint against the Undertaker, and then kicked him to the side.
Oh. But what I really dug here, though, is because it gives Aleister Black moments to shine, where Seth Rollins was on commentary, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, Aleister Black just jumps directly at his fucking face. Because, Seth Rollins had like an interview thing with Rey Mysterio, and he's like talking about Rey, and he's like, Hadouken! Fucking, ooh, and I love Aleister Black in general.
Yeah. He's great. He's great.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So he had a tag team match here with Humberto Carrillo against Murphy and Austin Theory. I don't understand why Black and Carrillo would team up unless it's for the previous discussions had been because Rey Mysterio was both of their mentors. Yeah. Which Carrillo I understand, and that's been mentioned in the past. But Black,
no, that doesn't.
Why would Black need Rey Mysterio as his mentor?
He doesn't.
Yeah, that's why I got real confused when I heard that.
Look, don't get me wrong. Aleister Black is a very good aerial technician, but a Rey Mysterio does not fit that character. No.
To add to what we said about before, Seth Rollins. Excuse me.
Yep.
Ah! No, hopefully that fixes it. Seth's heel character is bad, but Charlotte Flair as a heel is way worse. All summer we're going to see everyone ranting about Charlotte Flair. We've already ranted, noob. You missed it.
Sorry, dude. We've already done it. Yeah.
You're spot on. But it is that weird line, like, I've only mostly seen heel Charlotte. Like, because I didn't see her be faced before the turn on before Becky's turn.
Because you were fresh there, weren't you?
Fresh. Like, like that happened just before I started watching again. So I've never seen it. She's been like heel and sort of anti-hero since then.
She's a good face. Yeah. She's a good face.
Okay, well, that's cool. But yeah, Austin Black, that's right. Aleister Black and Carrillo get the win here. Okay, I'm not quite sure why they're going with it or what it means. I don't see there being any terms of story progression here, except for at the end, Seth Rollins comes out wearing Rey Mysterio's mask, which made me laugh because it looked dumb.
Yeah,
but I guess it's all combined with Rey and Seth for some reason.
Yeah, I agree.
To adding on to the greatest wrestling match ever.
Yeah, sure.
Edge and Christian teamed up once again for the Peep Show, where Christian just proceeded to dunk on Edge for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. I knew where this was going. It's too predictable. But I gotta tell you something. This has been on my mind. I want to get into the marketing behind this in a second, but Randy Orton, when he wants to, he can cut a fucking promo to save his life.
Gives a shit.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. Like we talked about that whole, the Beth Phoenix, like that promo, which may have been one of the best promos I've fucking seen since I've been watching wrestling. When he's just talking about the whole reasoning behind his big old RKO on Edge's return after Rumble, like that was fantastic.
Yeah.
But then you see him sort of like peddle it in for like Kofi and shit.
Yeah, because he doesn't give a shit about those feuds.
Yeah.
He doesn't. You can tell. And yeah, he even said, I phoned it in. Yes, we know you phoned it in, Randy.
We noticed, Randy.
But this promo here is an example of when he gives a shit, he puts his all into it, and he is one of the best on the mic in WWE. It's almost like when it's over, it's like Triple H or Vince even walk up to him and go, where have you been? What is this? Why do you come out and do this once? So, yeah, I don't know, man. For me, it's one of those things where they're really the whole greatest match thing, man. So have you heard what Edge said about this?
No.
He hates it. He hates the fact that they're marketing this as, this is the greatest match.
So this is something that we were discussing prior to the start of the show here. And this is something that came off of Wrestling Observer, even though I fucking hate him. There was the discussion with Brian Alvarez around that the greatest wrestling match ever as a match gimmick was designed entirely for a Saudi show. Because if you look at, like, you know, the greatest Royal Rumble, the best tag team in the world, you know, the championship, was it the best wrestler in the world trophy? Like the gimmick around the Saudi shows is always this larger than life best in the whatever. Right?
You think that's what they were going for?
I think so. I think we were due a Saudi show about. Well, we actually were in probably earlier in the year because Greatest Royal Rumble took place in.
Yeah, but they haven't done that for a couple of years.
No, but I mean, in terms of the Saudi timing, they get 2 shows a year, one at the front of the year, and then one at the Crown Jewel at the back end of the year.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
So they are due what would have been a Saudi show, and this
would have been Super Showdown.
Yeah, well, what is now Super Showdown for them. Yeah, so like, okay, that makes total sense. But for some reason, they ran with it, and they've kept running with it. And something that I saw on Twitter from, I think, Tom Colahue was, regardless of whether this is or isn't the best wrestling match ever, which is very likely that it won't be, the SEO on this in terms of marketing, if you Google search best wrestling match, you will get this. WWE have been incredible at pushing this. Are you checking my theory?
Yep. Yeah. It's the first thing that comes up.
First thing that comes up. So regardless of the result or whether it is, like, they have won here. So if you think about it, like, what would be the greatest wrestling matches, you're going to probably think of, you know, the likes of Kenny Omega, Ospreay, you know, like all these big units over at NJPW. But now you Google it and you get Edge and you get Randy Orton.
It's not dumb. It's not dumb in terms of Google metrics and stuff like that. That's smart.
There's a great article by Tom Colahue actually about the idea of marketing using like SEO and optimization in wrestling, and it's
okay. So taking away SEO for a second, this is great. Like I'll give him credit for the SEO and also getting that for top Google search and all that stuff. Smart move. However, let's not kid ourselves. This is going to be a shit fight because that's exactly what it was at Mania. It was terrible.
Apparently, it's been pre-recorded, by the way, so it's another cinematic.
Oh my god! Anyway, so the fact that they're labeling this the greatest wrestling match ever, and then they're actually going to do it, and it's going to suck, will go down in history as the worst wrestling match ever. Because you're putting it on a pedestal, and like Edge even came out and said, "I don't want it to be there because it's not going to be." He said it's subjective. That's all.
I'm just thinking about it, because even if they were like, let's CG the shit out of this, like but then even on top of that, what would be deemed as the best wrestling match?
Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels probably up there.
XXX versus Shawn Michaels. Yeah.
Shawn Michaels delivered. What can we say?
Dude, I'm telling you, Shawn Michaels is like the best ever.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, in terms of like a match that blew me away, just because I didn't know it was good, it was going to be so good. Yeah, Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels. He is the best ever. And without either Kurt Angle or Shawn Michaels in a match labeled the greatest wrestling match ever, that's a joke. That is a complete farce.
Yeah, there is no way that they're getting Shawn Michaels to do a match, though. No,
of course not. And he even knows that he's not going to. The greatest wrestling match right now, in the past couple of weeks that I've seen personally, has been on WWE TV at least. I can't recall AEW right now, but on WWE TV, Drew Gulak versus Daniel Bryan. Fantastic match.
From a pure wrestling perspective, yes, 100%. Prince of the chat goes Undertaker versus Mankind cage match. Hell yeah, that is also great. One of the best wrestling matches of all time, unquestionably. Winter Shroven adds Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels. Michaels overselling in that match was hilarious.
Yeah, have you seen that?
I have. Because there was a bit of beef between them, wasn't there? He's like, I'm just going
there
to
was.
play it up. I'm going to go real hard.
Because Hogan didn't want to
lose the title or something?
he didn't want to lose. Hogan had to go over. Like, he was playing that playing creative control, and he said, no, I'm not going to lose this match.
Fucking hate him so much. I hate Hogan.
Keep going.
Before I get stuck in a Hogan hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, so okay, well so yeah, Christian comes in, shits on him for 10 minutes, and then they eventually talk their way out of it. He's like, I fucking knew you could do it, man. I could believe you the whole time. Like, what the fuck was all of this? It was cool to see Edge and Christian again. But the discussion here, Dash, who will win the greatest wrestling match ever?
Who gives a shit?
I know, we still have to call it though.
All right.
Because Edge got the win at the No Holds Barred, and I think the whole argument, with Randy being like, "Yeah, you've never bet me in a straight up wrestling match."
It'll be Orton. Orton will win it. They'll have the rubber match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's got to be a three. There's gonna be a three fight. I'm pretty sure Edge is signed for 3 matches, X amount of things.
He'll miss next pay per view. Yeah. He'll go away again, and he'll be back at SummerSlam to have the rubber match.
Yeah, and do you think that'll be his retirement match?
No.
Well, because
Edge is signed.
It is a multi-year deal, isn't it? I thought it was a multi-match deal, but no.
He's got like a few matches on that contract as well. Yeah.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think SummerSlam would probably be that good end to it, and then it's like, well, because Edge is great, and I understand working with Randy because Randy's safe, and they've got a history, and I think that's probably a good way to get back into the swing of it. But there is going to come a point where he's going to need to step away from Randy.
My question about SummerSlam: do you think they're going to have a crowd?
I think they'll do their very best to make it happen.
Yeah, because Vince doesn't want to do SummerSlam without a crowd.
Yeah. It'd be very tough. It'd be very, very tough.
Yeah.
So we've seen the end of something here. We saw the end of the anything you can do, we can do better. Viking Raiders versus Street Profits. Previously, we've had axe throwing and basketball and bowling and mini golf. Here, we get a decathlon, which I fucking called it last week, mate. I'm like, they're going to have some sort of bullshit multi-event thing, and they'll end up drawing in the end.
Yeah. You won. You got it.
You know why? Because it's fucking funny and it was good. And I've enjoyed this entire thing. Front to back. Yeah. I think this has really demonstrated the charm and the charisma of all parties involved. It was absolutely awesome.
I'm with you. I'll keep this short. Private Party have been... Private Party, but I was going to say Street Profits have been labelled like a poor man's Private Party. I think
it's the other way around. Private Party or poor man's Street Profits. Unquestionable.
100%.
The fact that Street Profits are getting this main level, main time on Raw when we're seeing Private Party get fucking Kickoff or Dark, it tells you something.
Yep.
AEW,
there's charisma behind these guys.
Yeah, and Montez Ford brings it. And even the likes of, Eric and Ivar, even they're bringing a lot more charm. Because when they were like, we are Vikings and we raid, it was like, okay, cool. And they were just doing that, squash run, right? Yep. This has given me all the shits. This has given me all the care about both of them. Except I also forgot that Street Profits were tag team champions. So there's that.
Yeah.
Totally forgot.
Yeah.
But... it was great. So it was decathlon. There was sword fighting. There was goat milk wrestling. There was turkey leg eating. There was high jump. There was 1,600 meter dash. It was great.
Yeah, it was a good segment. I love these segments.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it ended exactly as I thought, which would be they'd end up being all friends. And I'm not even mad. Not even remotely mad. Brilliant. What do they do now, though?
Yeah,
I have fucking no idea. Because it still doesn't resolve. Because the whole premise of this feud was based on the idea when the Raiders made their way from NXT to Raw. They had to forego their championship, so Street Profits never technically won it off them.
Right.
So I understand why this is the feud, but it's not resolved, and I like that it's not resolved because that leads to something a match later.
Yep. I honestly thought there was going to be a match at Backlash, but nope.
Maybe they're saving that for SummerSlam.
Yeah, probably.
Build them up as characters and do this cool shit, and then they have a big, dumb, silly blowout match. Probably some weird stipulation on it, and it would be hysterical.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Lee in the chat, shades of redneck triathlon between Austin and Bischoff. I don't know what that is.
I can't really remember the redneck triathlon that much, but maybe. It's been a while. I do remember the name of it. I don't remember the exact events of it though. So,
but yeah, so I said I enjoyed that a lot, big time. Next up, a triple threat match for the number one contendership for the United States Championship on Kevin Owens, Angel Garza, Andrade. I really enjoy Andrade. I think Andrade is getting better and better, and I care more about him each and every week.
Same.
Kevin Owens was cool because he had that match with Apollo Crews last week.
Yep.
They're putting a lot into Angel Garza right now.
They really are. They obviously really like the guy.
We're always tired.
That's all right. I'm extra tired. I got up early on purpose for tomorrow morning. But yeah, I think they really want to put a lot of stock behind Garza because they really want that potential feud behind Andrade and Garza to come up. And now they've kind of put that into motion with Zelina getting knocked off the ring during the match and getting attacked. I believe that it's also going to spill some real life circumstances into this as well. If Zelina gets hurt again, I see Aleister Black get involved somehow.
Well, that would be cool. So if we're going to look at that from a story perspective, right? So we look at this in terms of we saw the beginning of the break between Zelina's boys with a Z, as named by Jem. With Austin Theory getting the boot, and now he's a disciple, so there's already cracks. Then we're seeing the cracks between Andrade and Angel Garza, which is fantastic. I appreciate them getting the belt off Andrade because I had the idea that he would move into the title picture with Drew, and that still could happen after Bobby. But if anything, Andrade could probably come out because spoilers, he wins. So he's got a match with Backlash against Apollo Crews. I see him taking the win. Garza coming in. He loses it to Garza, and then he moves on to the bigger picture. And I think if Garza, or if this does spill into that allows Aleister to move into that mid-card title picture.
Do you think Rusev's coming back?
No.
Okay.
No. He had a lot of anger and frustration before he left. That's from all accounts.
Oh, we know that.
So I think given the option, he's just no. Like granted, Lana's there.
That's why.
But I don't think he'll come back.
Do you think he's offended by the fact that they've offered him a contract that's like a quarter of what he was making?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely 100%. Stupid.
I don't know where he's going to go.
AEW.
You reckon?
Yeah. Impact will make an offer. He'll probably knock it back because it'll probably be the same money that WWE offering. AEW will offer some good money for him. But that is also going to cost AEW. And Tony Khan's already admitted that AEW is going to start looking at culling a few things.
Well, yeah, and they can't just keep picking up people that fall off WWE.
Exactly.
Because that's the big thing. Because every time we hear someone leave WWE, they're like, "Oh, they're going to AEW." No, they can't.
But that's the mistake that TNA made.
They don't want to be that leftover. Yeah, spot on.
It's a mistake that TNA made in their early days. Yeah.
And like when they there are some that would be a perfect fit, like the Revival or the Revolt. Now like Shawn Spears was an unexpected pickup that worked really, really well.
Oh yeah, it's great.
So there's a handful there that's really, really nice. But
yeah.
Hey, where's Pac? We haven't seen Pac in a while.
He got stuck in the UK.
Ah, that's why I thought, okay, cool.
Yeah. But he did have a promo a couple of weeks ago on Dynamite, so.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, so I don't know what's going to happen there. But speaking, no, we're not quite there yet. We're almost there. Kurt Angle has a weird promo where he puts over Edge.
Cool.
Okay. But yeah, speaking of Bobby,
looked like he didn't have eyebrows in that promo, but yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have it
it looked
really
weird,
doubling down on that thumb look. Speaking of Rusev and Lana, though, Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, the championship match ahead of Backlash. The MVP has is the manager of Bobby. Lana's pissy at it and wearing an entirely denim dress for some reason, which was fucking gross and so late 90s, early 2000s. I still don't understand why MVP is given time, being prevalent, whatever. And I refuse to believe that a full Nelson is as devastating as they're claiming it to be.
Yeah, so they're lifting the master lock from Chris Masters and giving it to Bobby Lashley, and they're recycling Bobby Lashley and MVP from TNA.
Really?
Yes, they were. MVP was Bobby Lashley's manager in TNA.
All right.
I don't care for this at all.
Not even remotely.
This is boring.
I like it. It's very similar to like Braun. I'm like, Braun's not losing. Drew's not losing. I don't care who they put him up against. It ain't happening.
I don't care. I don't care. I've got a month of WWE Network, and really, I'm not enticed to even watch this match.
It's free.
Not the pay-per-views, though. Yeah, because I paid for TakeOver, not for Backlash. Screw Backlash. This is the greatest rip-off.
Yeah. It's the greatest ploy.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's similar to you. I just can't seem to care. I think Bobby Lashley is certainly more interesting now, like at the moment, than he had been 6 months ago. Even with the whole Lana shit, that was boring.
Yeah.
Whether it's the pants rather than the little booty shorts or the little trunks, he looks jacked still, but like a not so huge, like a more lean jacked.
Nah, he probably is a bit leaner.
And I like it because it actually makes him look like more of an opposable threat, personally.
He was, because he was also training to be a mixed martial artist when he came in. So, yeah, he'd be leaner for sure.
Yeah, no, it looks. The problem with Bobby Lashley is he has such a dumb face, and it doesn't match. The example that my friend Craig uses, where it's like someone was like, like if there is a higher power, they're like, yes, we'll give him the pecs, we'll give him the shoulders, the legs, beautiful, fantastic. What about the face?
How about a baby
what about
face?
The face? What? It's almost like in a custom creator in 2K20, they used all the perk points on the lower part of the body, forgot to do the face. They're like, I don't know, what's the default face? Boom, done, there it is. That's what they've done.
It does look like a baby face, man.
It is,
seriously.
and
I don't mean baby face as a gimmick.
He doesn't even talk well.
And when he puts on a really tough face, it just doesn't look intimidating at all.
Oh, Bobby. But yeah, all this is doing is they're having to pull back on the Lashley Lana story, and this is the only way they can do it.
I agree. And
that would be that would be the greatest call if they decide to like split them back up again. I don't know what Lana's going to do.
Please do
nothing, but
and don't put Bobby Lashley back in the world title picture, please.
Why don't you?
Doesn't need it.
Why don't you think he should be in the world title picture?
He hasn't earned it yet. Definitely not.
Yeah, that's pretty hard and fast. Like, I would agree with that. Because but I also do. There is a little more to this, and I'm devastated that they're not really using that storyline, because there was a window of time where Lashley, McIntyre, and Corbin were a trio, and so they're not even using the angle that they worked together in the past, that they were a part.
But they dumped that almost They dumped that almost like 2 weeks after they did it.
Yes, but I'm saying if one of the big things that the WWE have moments of doing amazing is like, remember when this happened X amount of years ago? Like, they could have used that here. Like, because they were by the looks of it, they were going to go the three-man bland route. Sorry, three-man band, because Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and Corbin were three-man bland. So with Jinder, but apparently he got hurt. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. He wasn't wrestling.
So, here's the problem. And this is what WWE are notorious for. While they are notorious to do flashbacks, they are even more famously known for rewriting history and also forgetting stuff. Like, they just on purpose. They don't care. Do you remember? Do you remember this group? We don't. Neither should you.
Yeah.
Do you remember when? I can't actually. I won't say that.
What?
No. Like, look. There are things that are done right, and there are things that are done wrong. This is one of those things that are done wrong. Yeah. And Bobby Lashley's boring, man. Nobody wants to buy pay-per-view for Bobby Lashley to win the world title. It's the exact same as Jinder Mahal winning the world title back at Backlash a couple of years ago. Screw that.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But anyways, that brings us to the end of Raw.
Does it? Charlotte vs. Asuka?
Oh, yeah, fuck. That was there for like 45 minutes. Oh, yeah, Charlotte versus Asuka. I forgot because it happened at the start of the night as well. They had like a 45-minute bout at the back end. It was fine. It ended with a distraction from Nia Jax.
And Charlotte won.
Charlotte won.
Surprise. I
enjoyed the match. It felt like a pay-per-view match, but like on a Raw, but also not. It was like the length given to a good pay-per-view match.
I fell asleep.
And I like Charlotte, and I think I liked Asuka, but it's like, okay. And then dumb fuck face Nia Jax.
Oh, yeah.
I hate her.
Yep.
Not hate. Just hate her.
Just hate.
Yeah, so that was bum.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, okay. And then there was a bit of side bussing with the Sasha Banks and Bailey. They were on commentary for some reason. Iconic.
I forgot about that.
Bailey made a great comment about why there aren't any snacks under the announce table. That's actually a good question, and I would like to know why there's no snacks under there. But it also makes sense because if someone goes through that table, there's a mini bar down there. It's not going to go well. Like you keep bags of chips down there, someone goes through the table and all your chips pop. It's not handy.
This entire thing was boring, but at least Bailey made an effort to keep it somewhat entertaining. But, God, I don't need more Charlotte on my TV.
True.
No more. That's it. That's my thoughts.
Now, that was the end of Monday Night Raw. How would you go with this one, Dash? Where would you have said it?
A bar.
Oh, a bar.
Mm-hmm. Just a bar.
Yeah. What's that one?
Bar.
What's in there?
I reckon bar. Give it a bar.
Yeah, I'll give it a bar too.
Be harsh. I know you got a kind heart, Betson. Sometimes you got to be harsh.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It wasn't trash, but there was just nothing.
That's right. Look, don't get me wrong. It wasn't trash, right? But just
like
not
a bar is you turned up and you gave us wrestling. You know what I mean? And then it's just like, okay, well, like nothing here really progressed a whole lot. And this is the go home show before Backlash, and there was.
I could give it a Triple H or a Batista, but they put on a decent performance.
Yeah.
Bar.
Yeah, but yeah, it's because you've got some comments around the crowd. Before we wrap this up tonight, we discussed it last week with WWE taking page from AEW, which is brilliant, and having people in the crowd. However, the difference here is they have rando fucking performance center talent, they're perspex for some reason, and they are standing perfectly 1.5 minutes apart from each other, and they do not move.
It's dumb. It's stupid. I don't understand why they continue to do this. If you are going to have wrestlers in the crowd, don't have them your rookies from the performance center. It discredits them. Just as Ciampa said on Twitter, he's right. And also, it just doesn't have that same appeal as it does with AEW in the crowd. AEW, using their actual stars in the crowd, has given that sense of there could be a surprise.
That Prince goes, it's just entertainment, folks. And yes, it is, but it's fun to pull it apart.
Exactly, and that's what we're doing. It gives us...
Don't worry about that, Prince fans. Cool.
That's all right, you're all good, man.
Bat Prince being a heel in the chat.
No, it just gives us the element of surprise that anything could happen. I just feel like WWE don't have that using their rookies, their NXT rookies, or their performance center rookies in the crowd. There's something about the aesthetic that AEW have that really lands
What it comes down to is WWE are afraid to mix stories.
Yeah.
So they the reason they don't have anyone in the crowd that is of a superstar that you know or care about, because they don't want them to this perception that they're going to be involved with each other. Because for them, they have to have that separation for some reason.
Which is the Vince Ciampa thing, the Ciampa Orton thing that Vince is like, stop.
Yeah, he's like, you guys aren't going to have a match, so stop talking. It's the same as Matt Riddle, with Matt Riddle wanting to fight Goldberg and everyone. Like, he's like, you should
and Lesnar,
So fuck up.
Yeah.
It's not happening. Don't get everyone excited. If we can't deliver it, don't talk about it. Where AEW aren't afraid to have heels mixed with heels and face with faces. Like, you know, I've used this example before, but when you've got MJF on the side placing bets with Shawn Spears, and for someone gave Shawn Spears a horn one week. He's like, the whole night. It was brilliant.
It was great.
So good. And then, because when something's happening in the ring or they're doing a rest hold, they can go over to the crowd and they're doing something, you know what I mean? It's engaging overall. And not that I have no issue with using, but the Performance Center, like, they're doing the best they can there. But however, I don't know why it's Perspex, because all that does is demonstrate that, like, oh, well, the crowd's not getting involved anyway. By having them, because the second the show airs, no one's following that distancing. They go into the back room and then no one gives a fuck.
Yep.
So it's all appearances.
It's dumb. It really is
like,
dumb.
They keep distance, quote unquote, but it looks more natural in terms of how people would hang out. People are leaning on the barrier. People are watching it, getting involved, and they're yelling. And every time we hear a chant with the AEW guys, it seems more legitimate. Like during the Asuka Charlotte match, we're getting "This is awesome" chants from the crowd. And I'm like, is it though?
No.
Like, it feels like Vince in the ears, like, applause now.
Yeah, it really is. It really does. That he's directing that show.
But I do also wonder whether that is a bias that we are putting into it. But I mean that as in, like, because with AEW, we know that Tony Khan's like, you guys do whatever the fuck you want. You know your characters better than I do. You work it. Because we have this stigma and we know that Vince has such a tight control, we're making an assumption here. It's very possible that they're not, but it's also very possible that they are.
If they're not, then they're doing an awful job of being a crowd.
Yeah, then they're being out of fear. They're behaving a certain way.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I just feel like AEW are delivering right now in this whole COVID timeline that we're in right now, and it just feels like a show when you watch it. It still feels like a show, and like a great example is, and I'm going to spoil a little bit for you, Betson, but this week, like, Billy Gunn and his son Austin were in the crowd, and they had the younger son even there too. And Tony Schiavone was going to interview Billy Gunn, and then from around the other side, where MJF usually sits on the barrier, he walks all the way to the other side and goes, "Mike over here, sorry Billy, but I got something to say." And da-da-da-da. So, you know, like, they're interacting. They're about to start a new feud out of two people that were sitting in the crowd. Yeah. Next week, match Billy Gunn versus MJF. WWE have the opportunity to do those things, but they don't.
Yeah, they don't want to have those organic, you know.
It's dumb. Anyway.
Yeah. It's all right. Look, it's a small thing, and it's just different strokes for different folks, really. But
100%.
Yeah. That does bring us to the end of the show. Big thank you, everyone, for joining us. Big thank you, Dash, for joining us for this special.
Not a problem, man.
Let's get through this. This has been our WWE in review. We talk SmackDown and Raw. It comes at you normally every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. As we mentioned, minor delay this week due to technical issues. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, you can. Facebook.com/group/popcultures, Twitter, Discord, Instagram, all those links in the down below area. If you want to support the show, you can. Share the conversation. Tell your friends, tell your family about this little wrestling pod. You know, go to your podcast of choice, 5-star rating, leave a review. You know, like, subscribe, notification bell, all that usual YouTuber crap. Or you can support us financially at patreon.com/thepopculturist, or our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Thank you once again, Dash, for coming our way. People should know where you are right now. Dashgamer.com.
At dashgamer.com,
I work together all the fucking time. So
correct.
If you watch my stuff, you know who Dash is. If you watch Dash's stuff, you know who I am. It's all sort of, you know, coming together. It's coming together well.
Coming together.
But until next week, where we talk Backlash and the other shows, I guess. I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Dash.
And we'll see you then. The Young and the Restless, the Pop Culturist WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damien Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.